While Jagender Rana here, topic of the day is parametric insurance to mitigate costs of disasters. Parametric insurance to mitigate costs of disasters. See, over 2 decades, between 2000 and 2020, India faced the third most number of natural disasters events in the world. Future prospects are grim, with the frequency and intensity of many natural disasters projected to increase. Losses and damages will run into billions of US dollars. State offers may not have the funds to pay. India is cautiously experimenting with a novel tool to help bridge this financial gap. Parametric insurance, unlike regular insurance schemes which are based on indemnity or an evaluation of losses post a disaster event, parametric insurance relies on a predetermined set of parameters which, when met, triggers a payout immediately. There is no survey or lengthy assessment period, which is the main point of difference. One could make up for lost wages from heart stress on a day when you received a payout of rupees 400 as part of an ongoing parametric heat insurance scheme for members of the Self-Employed Women's Association. So most parts of North and Northwest India are reeling under severe heatwave conditions and record breaking temperatures. So they use the money to put some food on the table and run the house. The benefits of parametric insurance alone are unlikely to be sufficient for those worst affected by climate change. So the natural disasters mark almost every part of India's map. According to a report by the Center for Science and Environment, India saw natural disasters nearly every day in the first months of 2022. Between 2019 and 2023, the country faced damages worth $56 billion due to weather-related disasters. So finance for disaster management in India typically comes from the National or State Disaster Response Fund and international aid. So the National Disaster Management Authority contributes between 75% to 90% of funds from the central government, with the remainder supplied by the state government. These funds are not always immediately available. However, several state governments have moved court over the delay from the central government in releasing funds at times of crisis. So international humanitarian aid is another useful avenue, but can be unpredictable and makes it difficult for countries to fully comprehend the value of risk reduction or the full cost of managing hazards. So by contrast, parametric insurance is seen as a form of climate change adaptation because it helps government assess in advance the possible damages following a catastrophic event. It can also help maintain financial liquidity by providing payouts without any stops when parameters are met, thus enabling rehabilitation and restoration to happen faster. Nagaland is the first in India to insure its entire geography against heavy precipitation through parametric insurance. Nagaland faces heavy rainfall every monsoon season, and the low-lying parts of the state are especially flood-prone. In 2017, the state was devastated by floods that killed 22 people, completely or partially destroyed 7,700 homes, and affected a third of the state's population. So between 2018 and 2021, Incidents of water and climate related hazards increased from 337 to 840, according to the state government's own disaster statistics report. Nagaland is a small state and the damages from these type of events run into hundreds of crores, which can't be supported by SDRF alone. So the high cost of policy premium for parametric insurance cover was flagged during a meet organized by the National Disaster Management Authority. A parametric cover pays claims based on predefined disaster triggers such as earthquake or storms. There has been a strong demand for rollback on imposition of 18% GST for insurance premium announced during the recent budget by the Finance Ministry. It has also been noted by the GST Council, which met recently and referred the same to the group of ministers. The top national body on disaster management organized the discussions on upscaling parametric insurance with the stakeholders from private, public insurance companies and NGOs. The discussion centered around even listing the concept of parametric insurance with the state governments. Large donor entities and self-help groups were stressed upon. So the two key impediments to amplification, source of premium payment and large-scale participations were discussed. Two non-profits, SEVA and All India Disaster Management Institute, Ahmedabad, presented their design of parametric insurance product in 2023 and 2024. So designed as a cover for extreme heat. The insurer ICICI Lombard presented the business side of its understanding and implementation of the product. The meeting discussed ways and means of generating premium finance for socially and economically disadvantaged sections, including workers, farmers who are impacted by loss of work and body stress due to extreme heat. So between 2000 and 2019, India experienced the third highest number of natural disasters even globally. The future looks grim. So one such novel tool India is cautiously experimenting with its parametric insurance. Unlike conventional insurance schemes which rely on indemnity and post-disaster loss evaluations, parametric insurance operates on the predefined parameters. So India's disaster management fund typically come from the national or state response funds. The success of parametric insurance hinges on accurate data and sophisticated calculations. Insurers must estimate the magnitude and frequency of hazards over time and relate these to potential damages. This data-driven approach helps determine the thresholds of payouts and the cost of insurance premiums. So reliable and precise data from sources like the Indian Meteorological Department is critical for setting these parameters. At the end of the coverage period, for instance, daily rainfall data from the IMD would be analyzed to calculate cumulative rainfall. If the predetermined thresholds are met, the corresponding compensation is disbursed as per the policy terms. So this method ensures transparency and efficiency in the payout process, reducing delays and administrative burdens. As India continues to face the increasing threats of natural disasters, parametric insurance offers a promising solution to bridge the finance gap in disaster management. It complements existing funding mechanisms by providing a rapid and reliable source of financial support. Moreover, it promotes a proactive approach to risk management, encouraging governments and businesses to plan for potential disasters rather than react to them. The success of parametric insurance in India will depend on several factors, including the availability of accurate data, the willingness of stakeholders to adopt this new model, and the development of affordable and accessible insurance products. As awareness of the benefits of parametric insurance grows, it is likely to become an integral part of India's disaster resilience strategy. So, parametric insurance represents a significant step forward in disaster risk management for India. By providing immediate financial relief based on predefined parameters, it ensures that support reaches those in need without delay. So, as climate change continues to accelerate, the frequency and intensity of natural disasters, innovative solutions like parameter insurance will be crucial in safeguarding communities and ensuring sustainable development. With continued investment in data, infrastructure, and stakeholder engagement, parametric insurance can help India build a more resilient future. More resilient future, because parametric insurance is the need today. The promise of parametric insurance for climate change is most important, because the warmest year on record was 2023. A report estimated that losses from natural disasters amounted to $280 billion in 2023, of which only about $100 billion was insured. So the gap in insurance coverage was particularly wide between developed and developing economies. With the world experiencing a surge in extreme weather events, the insurance industry needs to enhance disaster resilience by devising a number of alternative methods of coverage. Alternative methods of coverage. Indians are trying out a new insurance to deal with the cost of increasing natural disasters. Because India is cautiously experimenting with a novel tool. The natural disasters marks almost every part of India's map. And this will never decrease, rather this is increasing year by year. Expenses are also increasing. In 2023, natural disaster losses hit $280 billion, with only $100 billion insured. So, indemnity-based insurance product requires a physical assessment of damage after a disaster to determine the payout amount. For example, health insurance, motor insurance, and travel insurance. But the challenges are there, because present method of disaster risk reduction has to be seen. Challenges are there when large-scale calamities, especially in economically disadvantaged areas, it is difficult to verify losses due to the lack of records and widespread destruction. The need for physical assessment can cause delay in providing financial assistance to the affected individuals and communities. And there is a significant gap in insurance coverage between developed and developing economies, leaving many vulnerable populations without adequate protection. So changing course and the associated limitations are there, because in parametric insurance, payments are made based on predefined parameters of weather events. For example, rainfall exceeding 100 millimeter per day for 2 consecutive days, specific flood levels, wind speed. So the payouts are made without the need for physical assessment of losses, enabling quicker disbursements. So for example, disaster-prone island countries, many have adopted parametric insurance for climatic adaptation, moving away from risk retention models. For example, Fiji launched its parametric insurance product in 2021. Morocco received $275 million in parametric insurance after a $6.8 magnitude earthquake arranged with the help of the whirlwind. India has initiated crop insurance, for example, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, and the restructured weather-based crop insurance scheme. So primarily used for low-frequency, high-impact disasters like earthquakes, cyclones, and hurricanes. There is a challenge related to developing and maintaining the necessary infrastructure for data collection and monitoring can be challenging, especially in developing regions. So affordability and accessibility issues are there, and the demands high premiums can still be a barrier for economically disadvantaged communities. Nagaland is the case study because Nagaland was the first state in India to buy parametric cover for extreme precipitation in 2021. Based on the lessons learned, it improved the product by fixing an absolute annual premium, duration, and rate online, allowing bidders to complete or to compete over lower threshold limits and maximize payouts. So, what can be done to ensure effectiveness? What is the way forward? So, precise threshold and robust monitoring is required because to establish clear, accurate parameters for insurance triggers and implement reliable monitoring systems to track these parameters effectively. Then transparent bidding and experience sharing follows a transparent bidding process for price discovery and facilitate the exchange of best practices and lessons learned between governments. Then widespread payout systems and household premium support. Develop comprehensive system for distributing payouts and promote long-term premium payments by households, leveraging tools like Aadhaar-based payment commissions. Aadhaar-based premium commissions. So some strategy has to be designed because the parametric insurance is required. But the question is high premium cost. High premium cost for parametric insurance is a challenge that has to be addressed. And as long as it is, the National Disaster Management Authority discussed the high cost of parametric insurance premiums and the imposition of 18% GST on insurance premiums. But this solution has to come out. Because the high cost of parametric insurance or the high cost of premium for parametric insurance cover was flagged during a meet organized by the National Disaster Management Authority. So parametric cover pays claims based on predefined disaster triggers such as earthquakes or storms. There has been a strong demand for rollback on imposition of 18% GST on insurance premium. So accept the consideration of the high cost, the parametric insurance is beneficial from every angle, and the countries or the areas which are prone to natural calamities or regular disasters, there the scheme of parametric insurance should be implemented without any consideration because the current study lists Sikkim, Uttarakhand, Arunachal Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Manipur, Nagaland, Goa, Mizoram, Meghalaya and Kerala as the 10 Indian states most likely to witness landslides. It also identifies landslide prone zone in the eastern Ghats, which so far have not been included in government landslide records or India's official landslide susceptibility map. So for a win-win outcome where the model showed improvements in forest cover from the tree plantations as well as improvements in livelihood, the presence of scheduled tribes and scheduled castes were found to be biggest influencing factor. So in such areas, this scheme will be more useful because this will provide the required compensation without any physical verification. So the need of parametric insurance is dire and it should be implemented immediately. Thank you.